my first open mic. I see so many amazing writers who have published amazing stuff. I haven't published anything. I haven't written anything. And I'm not here as a writer, here as a speaker. So this is a small speech which I have written after some life events which happened. And then I have named the speech as the waiting room. I don't know if you have ever waited for a text, not just a normal text, but the text. The text that could explain everything. Something that you have longed for, the understanding that you have longed for, make everything make sense. I think I have waited for years for a text that never came. Not literally text, conversations, apologies, reassurances, proof that I mattered, proof that I was valued. I think for a long time I was looking for answers. But then recently I realized that I didn't need answers. What I need was permission. Permission to let go, permission to move on, and permission to finally accept, finally give up the hope that someone will show up in becoming in the way that I want them to be. And I understood this weird thing about waiting. You know, waiting doesn't feel like waiting. Waiting feels like love. Waiting feels like hope. Waiting feels like responsibility. Waiting feels like that's the right thing to do. And because of that, I waited in that waiting room for a long time, for a very long time. And things changed. That was one ordinary evening. I was sitting in the living room of our beautifully built home. My husband was upstairs. My mom was cooking something. My kids were playing. My kid is here too. So yeah, my kids were playing and my dog was running around. And I was sitting in the sofa thinking, why do I feel so alone in a house? That thought sank. That was not a just one-time thought. That thought had reoccurred. But this evening was special. I sat with the discomfort, and then that put a question in me. Maybe I may not get the conversation that I expect. Maybe the life that I always dream is just a version and it never existed. Maybe that's never gonna come. And that realization was so heartbreaking for me because I had to sit with something that I was avoiding all my life. And that was how much of my life I had put on hold while I was waiting. How much of my life I had put on hold on silently, depending quietly on someone else's choices, someone else's willingness, someone else's capacity. And that felt so hard. My own life put on hold. I couldn't do anything for years other than being in the waiting room. That hardness whispered another question in me, and that asked me, maybe all it takes is to ask myself, why instead of waiting for someone to give me what I always wanted, why don't I think about a life that I can build for myself, even if they didn't give me anything? What would my life look like if they didn't give me anything? And that question changed everything. Not because I healed magically, not because I knew the answers, not because I transformed, nothing of that, because it gave me permission. It gave me permission, it gave me the power to move from waiting to living. That was massive. I decided to live irrespective of what. That gave me the power to own my life. That permission to move on would never have been given by anything else. No one is gonna give you that. No one is gonna call you and give you that. It is something that I gave to myself. And even when I stand here, I still don't have all the answers. But then for me these days, healing looked like owning my life and not wanting my life to sit on holding state, waiting for something else, waiting for someone else. Maybe some of you are waiting too. Waiting for closure, waiting for permission, waiting for life to change, waiting for your loved one to reach out and call you back. It could be anything. If it is you, I don't have any advice. I don't have any solution, but I leave you with one question. What if any parts of you are in the waiting room, how it would be, what could could happen in your life if you just stood up and walked out.